Shut up and sit down.
And now, streaming live from the sunny Southern California coast, this is Options Uncensored.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve. Welcome to Options Uncensored. We're making real options trades in real time together. Let's get right into it. First things first, make sure you have your brokerage account open and ready to go so you can follow along. Have your calculator too so we can do some easy math. Make sure you have your YouTube video quality set as high as possible so you can read the numbers a whole lot easier. And finally, remember, this is not financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. Alright? Let's look at my current positions open over here. Everything's pretty flat across the board. We'll go down the line. Trade desk, we opened this yesterday at 70. It got filled. Yes, it got filled at 70. Already down to 55 now, so we're already making money on this one. XOP, we opened it a couple days ago. We were doing really well yesterday, but there is some news about Russian oil sanctions and the incidents in the Middle East going on as well that spiked the price today, but that's okay. We're not, our call are 160, 165, so we'll check in on that one. Macy's down today, but that's okay. We've got time. Coca-Cola is roaring back, trying to get to 16. So far, so good. We're fine. Roku, trying to get to 31. Open at 62 or 63. That's fine. We're down slightly. That's all right. And DraftKings, trying to get to 26. Opened at 52, so we're already making money on DraftKings. All right? So far, no issues. Let's look at XOP really quick just to see where we're at. That's a newer trade. So we open XOP, a call spread somewhere around here. We opened it on the 10th, I believe. So it's moved against us. Our strikes are 160, which is up here. Okay, 160, 165. So we've got a lot of room to run here. We are going into the weekend, so things could happen on the weekend, but we may have a pullback. It's already pulled back a lot today. So don't worry about XOP. We'll be fine. Let's look into some post-earnings moves. So with earnings, now that we're actually getting earnings underway, what we're looking for post-earnings are options that where the move was more than what was priced into the options. All right, so say something was priced to move around 7%, but they moved 20%, that option is going to be still more expensive than before earnings. Okay, so that's what we're looking to sell, and we'll know just by looking at the option. Okay, here's JP Morgan. Earnings were this morning. We don't really have to go into the numbers of the news, just look and see what the movement was post-earnings. So we're still trading November for all of our contracts, 35 days till expiration. So you see here on the red side, on the put side, everything's red, so obviously we're going to skip the put side. If you want to sell a put though, if you sold the 140 and bought the 135, is it even worth it? 91 minus 49, divide that by 2 and divide that by 500, 4.2%. That's not bad, but it's not great. On the call side, you'd have to sell the 160 and buy the 165. That's 67 minus 21, divide that by 2 and divide that by 500, 4.6%. Obviously a little higher on the call side, but still that's not something I'm looking to do here. Looking for something better. Next, Wells Fargo. Earnings as well today. Here's the chart. Put side is red. Call side is pretty much flat, if not red too. Skip the call side here, and on the put side, no, nothing. Skip Wells Fargo. UNH, United Healthcare, they had earnings this morning today, I believe. Correct? Here's the chart. Same thing, yeah. All this is gapping up, moving up, and then selling off right away. Red on the put side. If you wanted to sell the 500, buy the 490. That's 233 minus 151. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 1,000. 4.1% on the put side. That's not good enough. On the call side, if you want to sell the 570 and buy the 580, 226. Actually, these are green here, so maybe this will work out. 226 minus 110, divide that by 2, and divide that by 1,000. That's almost 6%, so that's interesting. 570, 580. Let's look at the chart really quick. $570 is right about here. That's awfully close. Zoom in a bit. 570 is right here. Interesting. I'll make a note. We'll keep UNH on the list. That would be a 5.8% return. It only moved 2.6%. I wonder what was priced into the earnings. Next is BlackRock. Earnings were this morning. It's down very slightly. There's not going to be anything to do here. So you see losers on the put side and losers on the call side. If there was a trade to make, we missed it. Okay. Let's look at Citibank. There's some green on the call side. Just to confirm, earnings were today before market open. Here's the chart. Same thing, gapped up and is selling off. If there was a move to make, we may have already missed it. But let's look at the call side anyway. If you sold the 46 and bought the 48, I don't know if it's worth it. If you got a very small account, only want to risk $200. 21 minus 7, divide that by 2 and divide that by 200, 3.5%. That's not worth it. Skip the call side, and on the put side, if you sold the 39, bought the 36, that's $300. 39 minus 13, divide that by 2 and divide that by 300, 4.3%. That's not bad considering it's post earnings, but it's Citibank. Skip. We can do better. Boeing. I don't think Boeing is down not because of earnings, but because of an issue with the MAX 737. Their earnings are on the 25th. We're too close to make a move here, unfortunately. But man, look at this downward movement after earnings. Would love to sell puts here, but earnings are too close, okay? So we'll skip this one. Novo. Up again. Earnings are November 2nd. We're awfully close here. Let's look at the call side really quick. Can we get in and out before earnings? If you sold the 115 and bought the 120, 102 minus 60 divided by 2 and divided by 500, only 4.2%. We'll skip that. On the put side, if you sold the 90 and bought the 85, 95 minus 47 divided by 2 and divided by 500, 4.8%. Not bad, but not good. Skip. Dollar General. Is this an earnings move or no? On pace. It doesn't say earnings. When were earnings? All right. So earnings for Dollar General are in December, so that's great. If we're looking at November expiration, we've already don't have to worry about options. Or sorry, we don't have to worry about earnings. If you want to sell the 125 and buy the 130, what do you get? 97 minus 52, divide that by 2 and divide that by 500, 4.5% on the call side. On the put side, the 100 is too close and the 95 is too far away. If you sold the 100, bought the 95, that's 135 minus 75, divide that by 2 and divide that by 500, 6% on the nose. Where is 100 on the chart? 100's right here. Too close for comfort. I'd rather sell the call side anyways, so we'll skip this one. Allstate. Earnings are on November 1st. Again, this one's a little too close to earnings. Up almost 4% today, though. And same thing, would want to sell the call side. Can we get in and out in time? If you sold the oh, this is nice. If you sold the 130 and bought the 135, that's 65 minus 25. Never mind. Hardly any volume here. We're gonna skip this one. Liquidity issues. Progressive. Earnings today, yes. Earnings today, good. Up big today after earnings. Look at that. After last earnings, if you sold puts after the move down, you made money afterwards. Let's take a look on the call side. Same thing, too illiquid. Surprised. If you sold the 165 and bought the 170, look at there's a 25-cent spread here. On the put side, a little bit more liquidity on the put side, but still 15 cents here. If you sold the 140 and bought the 135, it's 10 cents spread here. It's too much. All right, let's look at gold. Up again. We're getting close. These are big moves for gold. Nice thing about these ETFs, you can keep rolling and rolling and rolling. Like with XOP, we can keep rolling and rolling and rolling till energy sector comes back down. If this moves against us, you can keep rolling and rolling and rolling till gold comes back down. You can roll it for years if you want to. Let's look at the call side. If you sold the 186 and bought the 191, that's 94 minus 44. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. 5% on the nose. On the put side, if you sold the 170 and bought the 165, that's not as good. 53 minus 19. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. Only 3.4%. So if you sold the call side, which we might do, I'll make a note of gold, the 186. Let's look at the TLT. Again, I think I'm waiting for the TLT to get back down to like 81, 82, 83 before selling puts. Maybe an 80. You just don't get paid on the TLT. On the put side, if you sold the 82 and bought the 77, 58 minus 18 divided by 2 divided by 500. Hold on, I messed it up. 59 minus 18, divide that by 2, divide that by 500, only 4% on the put side. I don't want the put side anyways. On the call side, if you sold the 93, that's 54 minus 14. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500, 4% on the call side too. So you're not really getting paid on either side. Again, this is a bond market ETF for the 20-year. It shouldn't be volatile, but we can get paid more elsewhere. Let's look at Adobe next. Earnings are December 13th. Great. On the put side, if you sold, skip the put side. On the call side, jeez, not as liquid as I thought. I'm going to take Adobe off the list here. It's not liquid at all. Can't make a trade. Let's go to Roblox. Down 3% today. Earnings are November 8th. A little too close for comfort. If you sold the call spread yesterday or the day before, good job, you're probably out of it. Let's keep looking at the call side. I remember looking at the call side. If you sold the 37.5 and bought the 42.5, what do you get? 85 minus 35 divided by 2 divided by 500. 5% on the nose on the call side. If you sold the 22.5, jeez. Yeah, if you sold the 22.5 and bought the 20. Look, if you got a very small account, you only want to wager $250, you can sell the 22.5 and buy the 20. What do you get? 36 minus 16 divided by 2 divided by 250. 4%. Not worth it. Skip. All right. Next list. Go to our IV rank scanner and sort by volume. Again, be patient. We've got a lot of earnings that are going to be thrown in here. The SPY and the Qs are back on the list. They weren't on the list yesterday. Has some heightened volatility. The VIX is up 5%. That's why. All right. Pretty flat for today, but heightened volatility. Let's look at the put side. For November, this is the wrong date. November expiration. On the put side, if you go all the way out to the 414 and bought the 409, that's 54 divided by 2 divided by 500. 5.4% on the put side. And on the call side, if you sold the 455 and bought the 460, that's 118 minus 57. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500. 6.1% on the call side. Interesting. Where's 455 on the chart? It's probably awfully close. Yeah, right about here. Pass. If it got up to 450, I'd sell a call spread maybe. Be interested then. All right, here we go. Russell 2000. AMD earnings are coming up. Apple earnings on November 2nd. JP Morgan's now past earnings, so there's no more volatility. Amazon on the 26th. GLD we already looked at. We're interested. Meta earnings. Bank of America earnings next week. TLT we already looked at. Considering it has heightened volatility, you don't really get paid for it. Palantir earnings on the 2nd. Silver, I'd rather do gold, it's more liquid. Microsoft earnings on the 24th. Wells Fargo still has heightened volatility, but we already looked at it. You don't get paid enough. Citigroup, we'll skip. ChargePoint is a $4 stock. We'll skip that. Kenvue, earnings on the 26th. ExxonMobil, earnings on the 27th. Netflix, earnings. Block, Square. Do we still have our position open, or did that close? Yeah, we already sold. We already got out of our Square position. We're too close to earnings. Maybe post-earnings we'll make a move. That was a fun one. We made money. The GDX, Alphabet, Boeing, earnings. The XLE, we already looked at that. We'd rather do XOP. Supermicro Computer, earnings coming up in early November. Dollar General, we already looked at Dollar General. Plug is a $7 stock. Disney, earnings on the 8th. PayPal, earnings on the 1st. A lot of earnings we got to avoid here, but we'll wait till post-earnings for a lot of this. We're kind of in that no man's land of a whole slew of earnings are coming up next week and the week after, so we'll just got to hang tight. There'll be a lot to do afterwards. Intel, earnings. Already looked at Nova. UVXY will skip. Avago. Lilly. Earnings. XBI. Let's look at that one. All right. Should catch a bid around here, yeah. It's an ETF, so there are no earnings to worry about. They're all priced in. On the put side, geez Louise, 65 is too close, 60 is too far away. On the call side, if you sold the 75 and bought the 79, 59 minus 17, divide that by 2, divide that by 400, 5.2% on the call side. We're 75 on the chart. Really close. 75 is right here. I'd rather wait for there to be a bounce up and then sell the call side. Not for 5.2%. Earnings, Roblox we already looked at. SoFi is an $8 stock. Rivian, earnings on the 7th. It's close. 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. Snapchat, earnings on the 24th. Coca-Cola, we have earnings on the 24th. We've got a put spread on that, so hopefully post-earnings it'll move up. We'll be out, we'll be happy. Delta still has heightened volatility even though they're post-earnings, yeah? Let's take a look at Delta, DAL. Earnings are over, correct. Here's our chart. Want to move up, want to move down. Maybe we get a bounce here. Let's look at the put side on Delta. You sold the 30, yikes. You could sell the 30, but the 25 is too illiquid. There's no volume, 10-point spread. Call side, skip the call side. Uber has earnings. The KRE, I'd rather wait till after the regionals report. If there's a lot of bad news, then sell the KRE. Sell puts in the KRE. Earnings, Pfizer earnings everywhere. 7th, good lord. Walgreens is post earnings, right? Let's take a look at Walgreens. WBA. Too close. However, if it could get up to around $28, this post earnings move can move all the way to $28. It's still a call spread there. Spirit. Ugh. GM earnings. 15th. Target has earnings on the 15th. That's a month away. Earnings. Shopify. Let's look at LQD. On the put side, really close. Skip the put side. On the call side, skip the call side. Next. Actually, I think that'll do it for this list. Let's go to one more list really quick here on E-Trade by volatility. We looked at this one, end phase. I think earnings are coming up. Trade desk, we opened a position on trade desk yesterday. DoorDash, let's look at DoorDash. Earnings are the first. If you opened up a call spread yesterday on DoorDash, good job. Or the day before. That was an easy one. See this movement down. But don't open a call spread now, you missed it. Boil, cold, Zoom. Earnings for Zoom are November 20th. I think that's after expiration. Take a look at the chart. Again, we looked at Zoom a couple days ago. I have no bias either way, up or down. Maybe you'll get a bounce here. Let's look at the put side. No. Call side. No. What time are we at? 7:41. Twilio? Haven't looked at that one in a long time. Earnings are on the 8th. Yikes-o. Look at that. Skip the put side. Call side's too close. 65 is too close. 70 is too far away. All right, let's go back to UNH and gold. Let's look at the GLD again. We're looking at the call side. We may be a little early, but that's all right. On the call side, we were looking at 186, right? Yeah, 186, 191. 186 here on the chart is all the way up here. Doesn't mean it can't get there, but that's one hell of a move for gold. Let's go ahead and open up a vertical call spread. We're going to sell the 186 and buy the 191, okay? Go here to verticals. We're at 5, 186, 191. All right, so we're going to sell one November expiration, 186 strike. That's on the call side. And we're going to buy one November expiration, 191 strike on the call side. We're going to ask for 51. All right. We'll go ahead and preview that. Sell one 186 call and buy one 191 call. Open. We're going to receive a credit of $51. That's important. Make sure you're receiving a credit so you did it right. We'll send that out. And it'll hang open here all day, okay? So if it does get filled, we'll set a buy to close order limit, good till canceled at 25 cents, okay? If it gets filled, great. If not, we'll try again on Monday morning with something else. All right, happy Friday, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, set alerts so you can tune in every day and follow along. We'll go live every morning, 7:15 a.m. on the West Coast, 10:15 a.m. on the East Coast. Tune in every day live. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Monday.